few decisions in life are easily arrived at, not when due consideration is given to all the relevant factors. It applies to even seemingly trivial issues. You see, all things are relative. If you could please provide me with an assortment of these, and these, and these. Thank you.
What about jelly babies? They're lekker.
Your concern is appreciated. Thank you. And some of those. And some of these. And these.
Oh, you like
some
sweets, eh?
About a kilo?
At least.
Joyful courts disaster. Does my love look bad? Come on!
Mr. Penzorn's here to see you.
Send him in.
Mr. Penzorn? Mr. McRae.
Mr. Darwin. Sorry, I haven't had a chance to meet you before, Mr. Penzorn. I do make a point of meeting everybody that works on Village Reef. It's just that I've been a little bit busy lately. I believe you work at the paint shop.
It's Mr. Cromhout.
Well, what about Mr. Cromhout?
He is destroying me.
Oh? How?
He has no respect for the artist.
Now, just a minute, Penzorn. Let's start at the beginning, shall we? You are a painter, right? By trade.
Trade?
Well, craft. And you work with Mr. Cromhout, who's in charge of the paint shop.
Mr. Cromhout is a Philistine.
Now, why should you say a thing like that?
Mr. Cromhout has no feeling. Mr. Cromhout has no sensitivity. Mr. Cromhout has no style.
Mr. Cromhout is just a... Mr. Cromhout is not a gallery painter. Mr. Cromhout is a foreman painter.
When you take a brush in your hand, you are paying homage. You paint from here. You paint with love. The love flows from your hand into the brush. When you paint, you caress. Even if you're painting a pipe or a steel beam, you paint like this. Gently, rhythmically. It requires grace, an ability to relate to the subject. But Mr. Cromhout, he paints like this. This is not reverence. This is barbarity. This is not love. This is vulgarity. This is an insult to the profession.
Excuse me, Mr. McRae. Something very urgent has come up.
That is not all. That is nothing. I come now to the sign writing.
Well, what about the sign writing?
I know sign writing. I am a sign writer. My whole background, my training, my instincts...
To attend to this matter at once.
Sir, please don't keep interrupting us.
Mr. Cromhout is not a sign writer. Mr. Cromhout is not gifted. Mr. Cromhout is totally devoid of talent.
The signs I see around the mine appear to be perfectly adequate.
Adequate?
Well, of course, one should always strive for perfection in every field. I wish more people felt as you do on this mine.
Reverence.
What?
The act of sowing. The act of reaping. The simplest acts of hewing wood, drawing water, applying paint. When infused with a spirit of reverence, they assist us in attaining integrality. They become an expression of joy because they are an expression of harmony. Man is a being who is straining towards infinity. Man is in quest of eternity. But the human condition, finite, temporal, mortal, is the source of our suffering. Only when we attain integrality can there be harmony and joy, illumination and enlightenment.
Oh, yes.
The two must not be confused.
No.
The excitement of illumination is quite distinct from the supreme radiance of enlightenment.
Cynthia.
When we contemplate a work of art, when we enjoy great music, when we perform a simple reverential act, we are achieving harmony through the supreme achievement of love.
Cynthia.
We are called upon to grow from division and conflict into freedom and love.
You
From
called
ignorance
Mr.
to
McRae?
What was that you were saying a moment
I
ago?
think Mr. Clay needed you urgently. Something to do
Yes,
with
of course. I'm
explosives.
sorry, Mr. Penzorn. You must forgive me. The assistant manager wants to see me rather urgently. Something to do with explosives. It sounds like an emergency. Would you see Mr. Penzorn out while I get Mr.
Even
Clay?
sign writing has a truth and beauty of its own. That is what Mr. Cromhout fails to comprehend. Mr. Cromhout is totally lacking in reverence and humility. He cannot comprehend that all paths of ascent lead to the mountain top. The light of eternity would blind him if it shone full in his face.
Mr. Penzorn, I must ask you to leave now.
What? Oh.
I've been comparing the cost of leaving reef pillars to reinforce the dike with the cost of removing it. It's not really worth taking out.
It'll also be too hazardous. I know that in general it's best to stope away from the shaft, but it depends on faults, dikes, and of course payability. What do you think?
Man, you saw the problems we got. I reckon we've got to mine it from the shaft outwards.
And what's Clay's approach?
I don't know. But I can guess. Clay will say we should stope from the side in towards the shaft.
Because it's the most obvious way?
Just because it looks safer.
It looks like you and he are all set for a clash of wills.
Yeah, well, McRae's going to have to decide that.
Rather him than me. Now I'm going to go take a shower.
You fancy a beer afterwards?
Good idea.
Right on.
I wouldn't actually like to say he's incompetent. Not when it comes to actually painting. When it comes to painting, I would say he's actually highly competent indeed.
Now, what then seems to be the trouble?
Let me put you in the picture. Last week we had to paint this transformer over at number 4 shaft. I show him the job. I explain everything nicely. I give him a boy to help him. 12:30 he's not there. 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. I get him to the bucket, I go to number 4 shaft.
He's messed it up.
It was a simple job. Green on the steel, black on the foundations. 1 hour at the most. 2 at the outside.
What had he done?
Green, sure. But only on the parts that are showing outwards. On the sides of these, like steel grills you find in a transformer, pillar box red. On all the tubing and the pipes and the knobs and that, canary yellow. When I got there, he was painting a funny like blue flower at the bottom. At first I couldn't speak. I just stood there looking at him. And when I could speak, I said to him, Penzorn, this is not a transformer anymore, man. This is the bloody jukebox.
He tells me he specializes in side writing. Part of the trouble seems to be that you won't allow him to do any.
I'll put you in the picture. Now we have to do this job for Mr. Williams at the swimming pool. New signs for the kiddies' change rooms. I give him the hardboard. I explain everything nicely. Red letters on white background. Now I've got this other job at the bowling green. So I leave him to it. Lunchtime I go back to see how he's getting on. Mr. McRae, if I had to describe to you, you wouldn't believe me. You would say I was dreaming. So I brought them along to show you. See what I mean, Mr. McRae?
Very artistic.
That's still nothing. Now we've got this job. It's time for underground. Mr. McRae. It took him 2 days, Mr. McRae.
Yes, Cromwell, I see what you mean. I'll have a word with the resident engineer about it.
And then we step outwards in opposite directions.
But that means leaving 2 remnants.
It's the same amount of pillar whether we leave 1 remnant or 2.
You're maximizing the danger. You're doubling the number of teams.
It just means that we stope at double the speed, and I disagree it's more dangerous. Your way will increase the fuel stress.
This area is already prone to rock bursts.
That's why we should adopt a procedure which will cut the energy release rate down to a minimum.
Sounds highly theoretical to me.
Well, you could put the problem on the computer, simulate the stress levels and energy release rates we'd get doing it Basil's way and doing it Quintus's way.
I'd like you both to put your recommendations in writing. For me, there's only one way to extract that pillar, and that's the best way. I don't want to find when we're halfway through that we were wrong. In the meantime, Rocky, I think it's a good idea if you do go and talk to that computer of yours. Rocky.
What do you think you're doing? Cynthia?
So that's what he did with all those sweets. He bought over a kilo's worth here, didn't he, Adele?
Well, I don't like it. I spoke to Stan about it last night. He's not happy about it either. He said he's going to mention it to Alf Doig.
You can't take a chance, I suppose. Not when there's kids involved, hey?
Not these days.
You remember that case at Ventersplay?
You mean that fella they caught?
You can't be too careful, not with kids.
Well, Chris, what do I do with him?
You're asking the wrong person.
Sure there's something wrong with him.
He's not dangerous. As far as we know, there's nothing in his history.
He's not normal.
How do you define normal?
Chris, let's not fiddle around with words. The man is sick. Never mind about definitions. Never mind about whether he's dangerous or not. All I'm asking you to do is to take a look at him and help me decide what to do with him.
You can't force a man to go to the doctor.
You examined him when we took him on. Didn't you notice anything?
Well, physically, there's nothing wrong with him.
Oh, so you agree that mentally?
Look, he's not psychotic. He's not homicidal. Personality defect, perhaps. Some emotional instability. It's not my field.
The man goes around the mine, painting faces on windows, and you simply dismiss it.
There are people who blow up crowded bars, hijack aeroplanes, shoot hostages. They're chillingly sane. This fellow paints faces on window panes. Count yourself lucky. Look, Hilton, I'd like to be able to help you. All I'm saying is, the problem isn't a medical one. If the man's incompetent, he can always be fired. That's a decision for you to take, not me.
Yeah.
There is no reason for us to be ashamed. Executed with reverence. There is nobility even in the humblest of acts. Remember the carpenter of Nazareth.
What do you want to drink?
Thank you. A glass of water, please.
Make it a double, please.
Grace and style are nothing more than the outward expression of inward harmony. They are as many ways of worshipping as there are tasks to perform. To express harmony is to ascend, and all paths of ascent lead to the mountain top.
Then how come we all keep on landing up underground?
Hey, don't be so snoop, man. Buy like a drink, man.
Yes, make it a glass of whitewash. He's a painter.
Only through the attainment of harmony can man transcend himself. And to do that, man must seek the child within himself. He must learn to hear with a child's ears, to see with a child's eyes, to perceive with a child's innocence. Out of the marked faith, you see children of the...
Doyle, security. Nothing official, not even a warning. Just a friendly word in your ear. Kids playing around on the swings and that, you know the ones I mean? Keep away from them. Get me? I don't want to hear any more reports. Nothing specific, I know. But what I hear, I don't like the sound of. Now, if you so much as lift a finger against any one of those kids, then you'll have to deal with...
Hey! Good work, Alf. We don't want these kind messing around here. Especially with small kids around.
He'd better stay away from me.
Leave the guys just a bit mad, man.
More than that.
Ah, man, keep your big ideas to yourself. Blue eyes,
man.
big boots. Come on.
Ted, what'd you bring him in here for?
I didn't bring him in here.
Well, the two of you were together.
He came up to me, he started talking to me. I came in here, he came with me.
You better watch it, Ted. You never know with these queer-os.
Yeah.
Mr. Penzorn would like to speak to you.
Penzorn? He must be. He is mad.
Outside.
Tell him to get lost.
Oh, Mr. McRae.
Tell him to get on to personnel. I've wasted enough time on this nonsense as it is.
I'm sorry, Mr. Penzorn, but it is quite impossible for Mr. McRae to take this matter any further. You must speak to Mr. Trimborn in personnel.
Mr. Trimborn does not grasp the dimensions of the problem. Mr. Trimborn's platitudes are an insult to the intelligence.
I'm sorry, Mr. Penzorn, but that is the only alternative. Mr. McRae cannot involve
Allegations
himself.
have been made, insinuations have been whispered. There is total misunderstanding.
I'm sure Mr. Trimborn will be able to help you. That is what the personnel manager is for.
My case must be heard at the highest level. It involves grave misrepresentation.
Mr. Penzorn, will you please...
It goes to the very heart of the search for integrality. It involves love, it involves children, it involves innocence.
If you refuse to accept that Mr. McRae will not and cannot see you, I shall have to call in the mine security officer. I feel so awful.
All right, I'll have a word with Trimborn. Nothing else we can do for you? Nothing going in the time office? Yes, I know. He insists on painting. This is all very unfortunate, but we can't tolerate this sort of behavior. Next thing he'll be into murals. All right, fine, Trimborn. You'll see it, will you? Right.
So he got his marching orders, eh?
Doris told me. She heard it from Stan in the Time office. He's picking up his papers this afternoon.
Well, he didn't last very long, did he?
Well, I'm not surprised, you know. You can't go around painting faces all over the place.
Hey, what? Hey, you! What do you think you're doing? I don't know his name.
Eh?
Yesterday. Or was it the day before yesterday? Time is essentially an irrelevant dimension.
You mean Ted? Ted Dixon?
Names accentuate individuality, and differentiation implies isolation. It draws a veil between us and the recognition of the truth that in pure spirit we are all of us joined together.
You won't find him here. He's underground.
No man is an island, entire of itself. Every man is a piece of the continent, a part of the main. Any man's death diminishes me, because I am involved in mankind. Therefore never send to know for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for thee.
Security. Give me Mr. Doric. Hello, Alf. That queer-o was here. He just left.
I can't harm you, but I can't love you. If you see me, please walk by. Stolen moments from my childhood. Seems I've done some wrong. To see you happy, to hear your laughter is all the need I have. What I find joyful courts disaster. Does my love look bad?
chandelier?
It's not only yours, Mr. McRae. It's every window in the building and down at the shaft as well.
Is he off the property?
I don't.
Find out for me. Get on to single quotas. If he's on this mine, I want him removed immediately. McRae. Yes, Doig, what is it? Did you get a doctor? Too late. Why, what happened? Uh-huh. Huh? Tell Dr. de Villiers I'd like to see him immediately. Thanks for letting me know. Benshorn was found in his room. He's dead.
But why did he have to kill himself?
I don't know.
Everyone gave him such a hard time. Maybe that's why.
Maybe.
But why did everyone give him such a hard time? Stompy said he was just a little bit mad.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
Cyanide.
You must have got it from the reduction works.
What a mess.
Any idea what might have triggered it off?
I had him fired. What else could I do?
Well, there'll be an inquest. You'll probably have to make a statement. It's just a formality. Clearly no one's to blame.
No one?
Straightforward suicide.
You doctors.
But if you're going to blame anybody, you might as well blame everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.